you need anything, just throw it in the chat or just tag me and I'll jump
Awesome.
on.
Recording in progress.
Good morning and afternoon, everyone. We apologize for the delay. We were having just a few technical issues this afternoon, as you can understand. But welcome and thanks for joining us and thank you for your patience. I'm Jess Nguyen with CQ, the Vice President of Meetings and Professional Development. Here at CQ, before we get started, I want to provide a quick reminder about the content shared today. The purpose of today's webinar is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. If you are in need of legal advice, we recommend consulting an attorney directly. For our CQ member attendees, today's webinar will be recorded and available on the CQ website within the next day or so. If you need help finding that or logging in, please let me know. For today's webinar, we have Darius Goldman from Career Bond with the webinar How Career Schools Can Win Students and Lower Ad Costs on TikTok. Throughout today's presentation, please submit your questions in the chat or Q&A features. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Darius for today's conversation.
Awesome. Everyone, thank you. Thank you for joining today. I'm really excited to talk about this. This is something that I've been spending a lot of time on recently, and I think it's going to be super helpful too. So I want to start. Why are you listening to me? Who am I? I'm Darius Goldman. I'm the founder of Career Bond, and I'm going to say something that may sound counterintuitive right now, but I'm introverted. I would prefer that nobody know who I am. I got into TikTok about a year ago because I was trying to solve my own lead generation problem. I tried paid ads, they didn't work. I tried affiliate marketplaces, they didn't work. I tried to harass my team members to do it for me, that didn't work. I tried AI, that was garbage. So I did it myself, and I developed a system that literally outperforms everything else I've tried, and I bet anything else you're trying right now, so I'm excited to share it with you. All right, so let's get started. Why should you even listen to me? I started doing this less than one full year ago. In that time, in less than one full year, I've given up paid ads entirely and went all in on organic TikTok. Here's what's happened in that time. I've had over 60 million total views, over 70 viral posts, all around career education. My highest single video did 8.7 million views. That one still blows my mind. One organic post that I did a couple of months ago for non-destructive testing generated 380 trade school applications in less than 2 weeks organically. So I'm not telling you this to impress you. I'm telling you this because if you're skeptical that organic social can actually move the enrollment needle, I want that skepticism handled in the first 2 minutes so we can actually have a great session. So here's what really matters for the room. The real story, it's not just organic social media. The real story is what happens when you take your organic winners and then start promoting them, boosting them as paid ads. Now it's funny because I'm saying don't do ads, do organic, but the two live together. And this is what I'm going to explain on this webinar. When you learn how to use organic first and then promote those same organic posts as a quote ad, the results are outstanding. Cost per click literally as low as 11 cents, cost per lead as low as $1.14. I've actually broken the dollar mark since typing this up. We could talk about that in a moment. I believe the industry average for cost per leads for career schools is anywhere from 60 to 270, depending on how high the education goes. So that gap, the gap between $1.14 to, let's say, $150, I'm going to teach you how to exploit that gap for yourself. That's the whole point of this webinar. So I'm excited to do this with you. Who's this for? This is actually for career schools. Career Bond, we are a career accelerator. We have a handful of programs. We focus on the adult learner and upskilling them with credentials to get them employed quickly. Human resources, project management, data analytics, right? But if you're a marketing director, if you're looking for a predictable enrollment pipeline, if you are a career school operator, everything that I'm talking about that I've done for myself absolutely, absolutely works for you, right? What it's going to let you do is let you become a recognized authority on the topic that your school serves. So if that sounds good, that's what we're going to get into. You don't need a production team. You don't need a ring light. I don't use one. You just need a smartphone, a topic you're passionate about, and the willingness to show up consistently. That's how I did it. That's how I'm going to teach you to do it. So the agenda for this session, 8 sections. We're going to start with why TikTok, because if you don't believe this platform is worth your time, nothing I say matters. We'll get into account setup, content creation, posting mechanics, engagement, analytics, and then the paid amplification strategy where you take your organic winners and then boost them into paid ads. By the end of this hour, you'll have a complete framework. You could handle this yourself. You could handle this with your marketing team. You could start running this yourself tomorrow. So let's go. All right. Why are you listening to me? Probably because you want to generate enrollment leads, and the methods you're using, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, or paid traffic, the costs just keep going up and the results keep getting worse. The reason is you're probably bidding against the same 12 vendors that your competition uses. Like everyone's in that same pool, the same list, the same auction, the same losing game. But here's like what I've learned doing TikTok and what I'm going to teach you today. Those students that you're trying to attract to click your ads, they've already done their research. They've already decided that career acceleration was right for them. The decision didn't happen on your ads. It happened on TikTok. It happened on YouTube. It happened on Reddit in the comments section. While they're watching someone explain what a sterile processing technician is and what they do, probably at 11 o'clock at night before they go to bed. That's when like they're being motivated to act. So someone was there for them. Someone built authority. Someone taught them about the career that they're interested in. And you're not doing that with the ad. So if you're not doing this organically yourself, it was someone else, and it might have been me, right? So you're not losing your students to better schools. You're losing them to better content. That's the problem, but that's what we're going to solve. So why TikTok and why now? I want to change your thinking immediately on what TikTok is. I'm a dad. I have a 17-year-old, 13-year-olds. I don't let them on TikTok, which is funny. TikTok, don't think of it as an entertainment platform, dance videos, or teenagers rambling. That's the old mental model, especially in this new year when it was acquired by a US entity. TikTok, more than anything else, TikTok is a search engine. So what do I mean by that? When someone goes on TikTok, and you could see in this slide of mine, it's the TikTok search bar to the left and then other results to the right. They're typing in their search. They're using TikTok to search for things that they care about. They're not, yes, maybe they'll still do this on Google, but they're not leaving social to go to Google to type in how long does phlebotomy training take, or what's an HVAC salary, or what are cybersecurity degrees that I could pursue. They're doing it where they spend time socially. TikTok, more than anything else, is a search platform from people that they trust. So that's very high intent behavior. It's the exact same intent that Google built their original $200 billion advertising business on. But the difference, because we're still in the early days of TikTok, is that you can rank for this organically for free without a single dollar of ad spend. This slide that's on the page right now, type in APHR certification in TikTok. I'm all over the page. This is the equivalent of 10, 15 years ago getting Google page one results. That's what TikTok is. This is what's driving us traffic. I talk about a topic, it gets ranked and indexed, and then people find it organically. So, what should really drive this home? The average adult, they're spending 3 hours a day on social platforms. They're not spending 3 hours a day Googling queries. They're spending it on social platforms where they spend their time, and they're using TikTok the way that they used to use Google, to research careers, to compare programs, to find answers. So if your content isn't showing up when they search for the programs that you offer, someone else's is, probably a competitor of yours, or possibly a content creator like myself, with no school affiliation, just someone who loves to talk about the topic. So either way, if you're not doing this, you are invisible at the time that it matters to the people that it matters to. So let's talk about TikTok so we can solve that. Here's where I need you to stop thinking about Instagram and start realizing that TikTok is a very different game. The biggest difference between TikTok and Instagram is that on Instagram, your content goes to your followers. So if you have 500 followers, maybe 50 of them will see it. So 10% of your follower count. It's slow growth, it's follower built, and it's capped by the size of your existing audience. Now, TikTok does not work this way. On TikTok, they have a concept, it's called the For You page, FYP. It's an algorithmically curated feed that shows people the content based on what they're interested in, what the algorithm thinks they should be interested in, what they're searching, not who they follow. So look at this screenshot on the screen, please. This post, what you're looking at is snapshots of my TikTok analytics. You're going to see a lot of them, so I could drive home points. This video did 7.4 million views. What's amazing is that literally none of my followers saw the video. It's all from the For You page. That's the top arrow. And how they found it was the bottom arrow, the search queries. People were searching allied health careers not nursing, alternatives to nursing, healthcare careers not nursing. And my content shows up for that. That's how they're finding me. That's what's amazing about TikTok. Your follower count, and this should encourage you, your follower count is irrelevant to your post's performance. So for everyone who's going to say at the end of this webinar, oh, that's great, but too hard to get started. No, just start posting, because it goes to the For You page. It does not go to your follower count. Now, you'll build followers if you're doing it right, and we'll talk about that later on. But your follower count is irrelevant to your message, and that should be inspiring. So, next. This is what I mentioned. What you're looking at here is these are my analytics. The follower count that I have about 114,000 at this point in less than a year. And while I'm proud about that, I just said that's a vanity metric. And it doesn't matter how many followers you have, it's the engagement, it's how they interact with it. So what you're looking at here are the analytics. And if you see this slide, because I know this is new to a lot of people, I'm showing you how to access this. So maybe screenshot this slide. You go to the business suite in TikTok, you go to analytics, you go to performance, you go to followers. That's where you could find this data when you create your TikTok account. But what you're looking at and what I measure by is my net growth growing or is it shrinking? So it's not that I want followers for followers' sake, but if it's trending upwards, as you see in the bottom right corner, it's a good sign. It shows that more new followers are joining than lost followers, because you will lose followers. So that's why I like the net growth feature that they use. Okay. This is how I want you to think about paid ads and organic. I'm sure a lot of you are doing paid ads, which are fine. I'm not knocking paid ads, but I want you to understand they're two different systems. If paid ads are a faucet, you turn it on, the water flows, you run out of budget, you turn it off, and instantly, completely, the water stops. With a paid ad, the moment you run out of budget or your campaign ends, your reach literally drops to zero. That's what a paid ad is by definition. You take the billboard down, no one sees it. Organic content, and why I'm advocating for everyone to start posting organically. Organic content is the reservoir. Every post you publish becomes a permanent asset. It could be discovered today, next week, 2 years from now. It doesn't matter, so long that someone searches and you're setting up your posts to be discovered. Now, I will teach you how to do that, so don't worry. This screenshot that you're looking at, and if you look at the top left corner that I circled in yellow, you see the search term that shows this. And not during the webinar, but please after, search yourself, like test it out on your own TikTok account. Netflix scholarship. I did a campaign in October of 25 around Netflix was running a scholarship for one school's art program. I published a series of posts about this scholarship. If you type in Netflix scholarship, you're still going to see them. They still get hits every once in a while where someone's asking about a scholarship and I say, sorry, this one has ended. But that's the beauty of organic. You film once, you never film that again, but it lives forever. That's a compounding asset. That's not an ad. That's not an expense. So here's a quick tip. When you start thinking about your TikTok strategy, scholarship trends very high, but everyone has a scholarship. So you have to anchor the scholarship around something. Here was great. It was Netflix. It was a brand name. So that's why people still find these posts. But if you just post about scholarship, the C will be too big. So like maybe partner up with an employer, partner up with a brand, or come up with a name for the scholarship to make it stand out. Little tip. All right, moving on. Keyword search dominance. How do you get discovered? I've just been talking about the need to get discovered, but how do you get discovered? This is what keyword search dominance looks like. Here's the real benefit of organic. On the prior slide, I showed you a very unique word, Netflix scholarship. Not that many people search for it, which is why I own it. But on this slide, if you look at the top left bar, the word that's being searched is EKG technician. That is a very common word. Like that is a very popular word. If you search EKG technician, and the algorithm always changes, but when I screenshotted this, I appear 3 times for EKG technician in first row and then once in the third row. That's Google page 1 and it's completely free. 4 of my posts appearing above the fold. It didn't happen because of a viral video. It happened because of consistent, focused content over months, becoming an authority over keywords, over a niche, using a posting methodology that I'm going to cover in the next few slides. Again, I say this to encourage you. It's so doable so long as you're consistent. It's a system. It's not luck. Okay, moving on. This one still gets me. For a trade school, I did a series around non-destructive testing. I had to research what it was. I didn't know what non-destructive testing was. This post started with me just saying, here's a boring and stable career. It took off. This post drove 380 applications in a 2-week period. The funny thing is, the trade school only wanted 100, but it just completely took off. And I used to use this as an example of like what could go right when it goes right. But just 2 weeks ago, I started a new campaign with an allied healthcare program for EKG and phlebotomy. It brought in 348 leads in the first 2 weeks and another 392 leads organically through the website. Point is, consistency matters and it is so doable. These are not outliers. This is what you can expect. All right, So I've hopefully at this point told you why TikTok works. Now let me show you how to set up your account so it actually works for you. So like all that was the tease. Now here's what I want to teach you during this hour we have together. First, please, because there's a lot to go over, on your desktop, snapshot this slide. Like this is the slide I want you to take away and give to your team. I'll talk about a lot of this, but snapshot this slide. Make sure your marketing team, or if you're doing this yourself, make sure they see this. This is the operating system behind everything I'm going to teach you today. 7 components to consistent organic growth. We're going to hit the most important ones in the next few minutes, but this framework is what I want you walking away with. I'll go into each of these, but you're going to set up a personal account, not a corporate account. I know people are rolling their eyebrows right now. You're going to be consistent. You're going to use keywords. You're going to use series. You're going to engage with your public. You cannot ghost and post. You're going to create a flywheel. I'm going to go into each one of these, but this is the cheat sheet for you. All right, let's get into it. First, this is the number 1 tip, and I'm stressing it because it's the most important slide in this entire webinar, and I know you're still not going to listen to me. Here's the tip. Do not use your school name. Unless you're Nike or Chipotle, people will not follow you. When you post as the school name, it's a school account. It's a corporate account. You're asking a stranger to trust a logo. And I know that your school logos deserve trust. So that's not what I'm saying. But this is what TikTok is. TikTok is a search platform for people to people, peer-to-peer connections. You're starting conversations with peers as a person, not as a corporate. Now, I'm not just preaching. When I started TikTok, I tried running it on a corporate Career Bond account. I even kept both in parallel, the corporate account and my personal account. I have since abandoned the corporate account so long ago, not because I gave up, but because my personal account was sending thousands of visitors to our website, careerbond.com, every week, and the corporate account was doing nothing. The personal account was creating meaningful engagements with people, telling their stories, sharing their stories. The corporate account, nothing. So, the question that I have for you, like as you're sitting here still refusing to get rid of your corporate account, is, are you keeping the corporate account for conversion, enrollment conversion, or for vanity? If you need an account for vanity, use Instagram. That's what Instagram is for. On TikTok, go personal. Now, I know you're still going to push back on this, which is fine. So here's the bridge. Look at my bio. This is how I make it work. The account itself is rhymes with there he is. That's the account name, rhymes with there he is. It's so hard to type. It's also so hard to find. It says who I am. I'm Darius. But then it says who I'm affiliated with. CEO, careerbond.com. Now, for everyone who's afraid to get rid of the corporate name, here's my little cheat sheet and hack to you. Because I wrote it this way, Darius, vertical line, CEO, careerbond.com. Every time I comment, thousands and thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of comments at this point. Every comment that I ever post begins with Darius, careerbond.com. So believe me, the brand recognition is getting across. You just don't need to use a corporate account. Next tip. Consistency. Consistency wins. I wear a black t-shirt in nearly every video. I film in a few of the same familiar spots. My caption format is the same across all posts. It's not laziness, it's intentional branding. When someone scrolls past one of my videos, and what you're looking at here is just my page, a feed of my page, the same black shirt, the same background, It signals quickly. This is Darius. This is what he talks about. This is what you could expect. The pattern recognition builds familiarity. Familiarity creates engagement, creates trust, and converts. So, from the algorithm side, TikTok also rewards this. They reward my consistency of topic, my clarity of keyword, and my volume of signal. But if I did like everything randomly, one day in my car, one day in the street, one day red shirt, yellow shirt, walking this, it's all over the place. It's also visually not as appealing. The viewers like the consistency too. So I'm not saying to copy me. Don't, right? Like this works for me because this is who I am. But be consistent. And if you're a school, maybe film in one of few locations. Maybe wear a school logo shirt like I'm wearing my school logo shirt. Like, but keep it consistent. Okay. Next tip. Tip number 3. Trifecta. The whole goal is not just to post into the ether, but to have the posts rank, to have it be searchable, to have the algorithm know who to show it to. So, how do you do that? TikTok's algorithm does 3 things with every post. It will transcribe your audio, it will read your on-screen captions, and it'll index your written description. What you're looking at in this snapshot is one single post, but I had to snapshot it twice to show you everything. And what's going on here? On the left, you have the closed caption. Do that in the TikTok app. I will talk about this in a moment, but use the app's native software, not an external one. Do the closed captioning in the TikTok app. So now TikTok knows exactly what you're saying. And if you speak fast or jumble words like I tend to do, you have a chance to actually correct it. So now TikTok really knows what you're talking about. That's here. Up here in the yellow above my head, I call this floating text, but it's essentially on-screen text. I do mine so it comes and goes because I don't want it to overpower the message. It'll appear, it'll disappear. But again, what I'm doing, there's a pattern here. This post, I'm talking about healthcare data analytics. The floating text starts with healthcare data analytics. And then on the second page here, the second screenshot, this is what you call the TikTok description. You have the chance in TikTok to create your own description of what the post is about. I do it here too, but this one also starts with healthcare professionals already speak the language health tech companies are actively paying for, right? Again, between the closed caption, between the floating words I choose to put on screen, and then between the description, very concise, very clear. TikTok knows what I'm talking about. And the benefit of this is TikTok, if you look at this screenshot at the top of the page, in the search bar, TikTok put in these words in white where it says healthcare data analyst. You cannot do that. TikTok does that. But that means TikTok knows exactly what you're talking about. TikTok has ranked it, has indexed it, and now people searching healthcare data analyst will find this post because TikTok knows that's what I'm talking about. So, in terms of your posting style, speak it, show it, write it, be consistent, use all 3. Let TikTok know abundantly clear what it is you're talking about. Next 2 tips. Tip 4 and 5 I'm combining. TikTok is raw. Embrace it. It's not meant to be perfect. I talk fast. I stumble over words. This post, I actually called it phlebotomy. I was embarrassed. That I didn't catch it on the closed caption. Like I mispronounced it, which is why the closed caption wrote it as phlebotomy. I was embarrassed. I was gonna delete it. And then I don't know why I didn't at the time because this is how you learn, right? This post did 6.5 million views. This post got me 14,289 new followers. If I deleted this post out of the embarrassment of not posting something perfect, I would have literally lost 6.5 million views and 14,000 new followers. So the lesson here is it's not make mistakes on purpose. But the lesson is authenticity is the product. I was talking fast. I said it. I laughed about it afterwards. That's the product. So don't delete the imperfect ones. Post them. Let the algorithm decide if it's good or not. And again, this also goes back to point number one. Don't use your corporate account. You could see how a school, right? If you're ABC Allied Healthcare School, you could see how you don't want to misspell phlebotomy. That would be terrible. But if the spokesman for the school misspeaks it, big deal. That's what TikTok is. All right, tip 5. This one's important. Post natively. Do not use scheduling apps. Don't even use TikTok's built-in scheduler. It will 1000% reduce your reach. So there's a bunch of rules about this. You could film and edit heavily off app, like cut them together, get them ready. But then take the post that could be 90% edited off app, import it onto the app, finish the editing in the app. That's where I always add my closed captions, I always add my floating text, and I always add my page 2 descriptions. You could also add your B-roll in on the app. The more editing you do on the app, the more TikTok will see it as genuine, authentic to their platform and not recycled garbage, and they will reward you for that. Do not get lazy here. I'm serious. Here's the other thing. TikTok has its own scheduler. You can't get it on your phone. You can get it on a website, the TikTok.com, on your browser. You could get it there. Don't use it. Every time I've scheduled posts in advance using TikTok's own scheduler, the reach was terrible compared to when I keep them on my phone and just say, okay, now I'm going to post and do it organically from the phone. One other tip, and I know I'm like coming at you fast, but there's so much to teach. It's okay to create drafts, but you will also be penalized by TikTok if you keep too many drafts in your folder. They will see it as stale. They actually give you a warning. They start putting calendar dates saying this draft is 3 days old. They want you to post it. They don't want you to hold it. So if someone creates for you 30 drafts and sticks it all in TikTok draft folder, TikTok knows it's mass produced and they're going to penalize you for it. I will only keep at most 3 days worth of content in my draft folder on TikTok. More than 3 days, you will absolutely be punished by TikTok for having that much content in their draft folder. They want you to post it. They don't want you to hoard it. Okay. So I gave you 5 of the 7 tips. This part is what I really want to talk about. This is going to blow your mind. This is the value of the webinar right here. The reason most schools fail at TikTok, it's not bad content, it's that you're constantly running out of it, you don't know what to test, you don't know what to post, and now it becomes a chore. It becomes a hurdle. You'll film a few videos, you'll post them, you'll watch the numbers, you'll get discouraged and you'll quit. Or your marketing team will show you this beautiful content calendar of, hey, here's the 3 posts for the week. I do 6 a day. 6 posts every day. Every day. 7 days a week, 6 posts. Sometimes 9. So, how do you do 6 posts a day? How do you realize that 3 posts a week is not going to move the needle at all? It's very simple, and I love this. It's called the assembly line. Every TikTok video has 3 parts: a beginning, middle, and end. The hook, the beginning, is the first 2 seconds. It needs to stop the scroll. It needs to get people to focus. The middle, or the meat, is the substance. It's where the value lives. It's why you're talking. And the CTA, it's the call to action, right? Follow me for more. Please share with your friend. Or enrollment, cohort starts on Monday. Most of you have been trained to think of this as one unit, one video filmed start to finish. That is the slow way. That is not going to work in the age of mass production. You're not filming one video. You're filming an assembly line that treats each part as a separate, interchangeable unit. I love this. Ready? This is how it works. This is awesome. If you give me assume you've already scripted. So the scripts are done. If you give me 2 hours to sit in front of my camera, because this is how I used to do it, I could film 35 scripts all in a row. When I started doing TikTok, I'd have the ideas of what I wanted to talk about. I'd script them out. I wouldn't follow a script verbatim, never do that. The script is the inspiration. It's so you have guidance in what you want to discuss, but never read a freaking script. But I used to film 35 in a row, and I'd get like my week's worth done, and it was draining. Then I realized this, and I didn't make this up. Other people do it, right? I wish I could invent this and patent it. But for the same 2 hours of filming, by breaking it up into sections, you could film 20 hooks, 15 meets, 3 CTAs. Do the math. That's now 900 unique videos from 1 2-hour session. So I know this sounds like I'm exaggerating. I'm not. This is literally the math. And think back if you ever saw an agency advertise on Instagram where they say something like this: I will film you a year's worth of content in 1 day. Or I will give you a year's worth of content for only $10,000. This is what they're doing. That's it. This is it. So it's not my invention. But I can tell you it absolutely works. If you adopt this model, you will never run out of content again after this session. And you will also have your A/B testing for when to amplify organic into paid ads. So it's a win-win. This right here, if you get anything out of this session, it's the assembly line and it's please do not use your corporate account. Okay, moving on. So how does it work? Like how do you actually do it? Here's how you do it. Before you film, you'll obviously have an idea of what you want to talk about, right? Script it out, use chat if you want, right? Whatever your jam is. But you'll write your hooks, 15 to 25 of them. Then you'll write your meets, 10 to 20 of them, right? Then you'll write your CTAs. I only use 3 CTAs. Follow me for more, comment info if you're interested, or really those are my 2 CTAs. Follow me for more or comment if you're interested. During your filming session, you'll sit down in front of your camera and now you'll film just the hooks. So you'll start like this. And you code them. Literally, this is how you'll look into your camera. Hook number 1. Here are the 5 best tech careers. Hook number 2. Don't go to college. Do this instead. Hook number 3. This job pays over $60K to start, and you could train for it in 5 months. That's it. That's literally how you do it. I know you have this urge to finish those thoughts, but do not. That'll defeat the assembly line. So what you want to do, and then you do the same with the meets, and you do the same with the CTAs. Each one has to have a code. So I say hook 1, hook 2, hook 3, meet 1, meet 2, meet 3, CTA 1, CTA 2, CTA 3. Very simple. You just say the code before you film. Every component stands on its own, and then when you film them, you'll put them in a spreadsheet, and you'll mix and match. Will every single one be perfectly fit? No, but most of them will. So how do you keep track of literally 900 potential videos? You use a spreadsheet. This is a real screenshot of my Airtable. I use Airtable. If you're not familiar, it's like Google Sheets, but prettier and easier to use. It's like everything you don't like about Google Sheets, Airtable has solved. So this screenshot is my assembly line stored in Airtable with the codes, with the actual verbatim intended scripts, because I said I don't follow actual scripts, but like what each section was meant to talk about. Of course, like when I'm doing things live, I tend to just go off script. But with this component, you can now mix and match and get the full script. It's actually a lot easier than this looks. And by doing it this way, I'm able to do what I love, which is filming on my phone. Then I send the raw video to my editor. My editor cuts them, puts a link, stores them in Google, puts a link to each one, And then after they've all been assembled or categorized, then we assemble them. You could do this part with an editor offshore. It'll be very cost efficient, but it has to be someone who's responsible because there's a lot of data going on. But this is what makes 6 posts a day sustainable for one person. I used to actually do all of this on my own. It got to the point where, as I scaled my own efforts, I brought in other people. But everything that I'm describing in this webinar, I started doing on my own as a one-person show until I naturally grew to the point where I wanted to bring in team members to help me with it. So it's absolutely doable. And if you stick around and watch the webinar till the end, because I know everyone has ADD these days, I'll give you my actual Airtable, like my template, my Airtable template. So you could start with a established template and just drop in the components. So that'll be my free gift to you. Okay, let's move on. Posting methodology. I just taught you how to create a year's worth of content. So now let's talk about how to actually get the most out of each post. For the schools that say, yeah, our marketing team is great, they planned a sprint, and these are the 3 posts for next week, stop. Stop. That's not doing it. I post 6 times a day, sometimes more, and I tried to separate my posts by at least 3 hours apart, but geared towards the end of the day. I found when my users are most active, and I'm going to show you how to do this, but the point is, post when it works for you. I tend to spread them out 3 hours apart and post heavily towards the end of the day. You can screenshot this slide to find out when your viewers are watching you. Go to, in your TikTok app, go to the business suite, go to analytics, go to audience, and then click see more. And what you're looking at here is my viewer count. So this shows from when I screenshotted it. Obviously, it always changes with time, but my viewers are heavy 2 o'clock, 6, 8, 10, right? Like towards the end of the day, my viewers are heavier. So anyone who says, oh, post at 3 a.m., 5 p.m., it's based on your viewers. It's for everyone, it's different. Okay, what should you post about? This is something I learned the hard way. Stay in your lane. If you're brand new to TikTok and you're just going to start posting, for the first 60 days, keep at least 50% of it anchored on your primary category. Don't be all over the place. The algorithm needs to learn your account. It needs to categorize your account. The more focused you are with your content and using the 3 keywords, the captions, the floating text, and even the descriptions, the easier it is for the algorithm to understand what you're talking about. And then when you want to introduce a new topic, don't just stop the old one. Blend it in. I actually made this mistake earlier on my account. I was doing a lot on healthcare, and then I wanted to do a series on LinkedIn job search. I thought the topics were related, right? Like healthcare careers, LinkedIn job search. They are related to me still, but to TikTok, they were completely separate topics. The algorithm disagreed with my sudden shift from allied healthcare to LinkedIn job search, and my traffic died. That LinkedIn series that I did performed terribly because I just stopped talking about allied healthcare and started talking about LinkedIn job search. What I've learned, and so what I'm sharing with you, so please steal this from me, the better way is keep your consistency and then introduce the new topics. How I would do it now is I would have my core post that I still post about, and then I'd bring in the job search. Then I'd bring another one, right? So you could start, if you're posting 6 times a day, 4 are on the consistent, and then 2 experimental. And then the next day, another experimental, right? On the same thread. So think of it that way. It's very important. At risk of repeating myself, which I am repeating myself, If you break this rule, it will hurt your watch count. Okay. So, told you the value of keywords, told you how to stay consistent, but now how do you talk about something? How do you talk about what you want to say so it does get ranked? You don't need a third-party app. You don't need to pay anyone. You don't need, and candidly, don't use AI because AI is outdated when it comes to what's happening on TikTok itself. Just go into TikTok and type something in. So you're looking at two screenshots here. The left is my actual phone and the right is my desktop. And what you can see is I typed in APHR certification. As I said, one of the programs that we offer at CareerBond in our Career Accelerator is HR. So I type in APHR certification on the phone, and you see in red is what I typed, and then in black after it is what other people are searching. These are your keywords, people, right? If you want to now talk about APH certification, is it worth it? Your post will show up for that search. And when you do this right, now you're looking at the right side of the screen, type in APHR certification in TikTok search bar, and I am all over this page. I also just started offering HR this year, so these are fresh posts. These are all new posts, but that's how well the system works. I've reached a point where it only takes me about 30 days to start really ranking for a topic because of this consistency. Okay. Community. Remember, goes back to rule number 1, not your corporate account. TikTok is a search platform for people-to-people discovery. How do you create community on TikTok? Here's what most schools get wrong. They're optimizing for views. Views is a vanity metric because the average view in TikTok is 2 seconds, sometimes 1 second. That's not a view. That's the equivalent of an impression, right? It's someone swiping past your post. The fact that your post showed up in someone's feed, but they swipe past it immediately, 1 second, 2 seconds is immediately, that counts as a view. That's not engagement, right? That's vanity. So views don't matter. Views and followers don't matter on TikTok. The algorithm measures engagement. I came up with a formula. I'm going to share the formula, but first I want to explain the components of the formula. What the algorithm looks for and how I weigh my posts if they do well or not by views, not by followers. Those are side effects. I look at 4 different components. First, look at shares. If someone took the time to watch your video and then literally forward it to their friend, and you know when that happens because the friend will be tagged in it. So someone saw my post on EKG and said, hey, Brenda, you have to see this. That's the highest trust signal. That's someone attaching their name to your content and sending it to another person, someone that trusts them, and they trust you enough, and they think that it's good content. That's very powerful, right? So that's worth 4 points. Comments underneath shares are worth 3 points. Comments are high friction. Someone stopped the scroll and they literally had to type. Now, obviously a comment that's rage baiting, that's not valuable, but a comment where someone's interested, where they're engaging with you, that takes effort. Saves under comments, it means that they liked your video enough that theoretically they want to come back and see it again. I don't think anyone's ever revisited their saves. But again, it saves you in their profile. It's a sign of trust. So it's there. And then likes. Likes are the easiest. Likes are worth nothing. Likes are $1, right? Like on this, likes are nothing. When I said $1, I meant like likes are 1 point. There's no monetary value to it. Likes, it's just too easy to like, right? Like is a soccer trophy, but it's still a soccer trophy. You got one. So we'll measure it, right? So the slide, I'm going to show you a formula later on how to rank these. But first, to get ranks, to get the engagement, cardinal rule, no ghost and post. This isn't reactive, let me post and just watch all the love come in. You have to engage. So this post that you're looking at is a post that I did, and it has, if you look at the top circle, it has 6,209 comments. Now, candidly, if there's 6,209 comments, that means at least 3,104 are mine. Because if someone comments, I reply back. I have a team that obviously helps me do this, but in full transparency, I probably still do 60 to 80% of the comments because it's what keeps me in touch with my audience, and I love it. This has become my dopamine hit. I love interacting with people on TikTok, so I still do the majority of comments because it keeps me involved and it keeps me relevant. But there's a reason I circled these three. And I know the screen, it's too small to probably see. This comment was September 27th. This comment up top was October 22nd. And this comment was January 26th. That's really what I'm showing you here. So one post, I'm not saying comment in one day and forget about it. We have a way of going back to our posts and re-engaging. This comment from January 26th, if you read the comment, it's me to the person who commented originally, hey, just checking in, seeing if you got 2026 off strong. You know, what's going on? You're more into tech, healthcare, or others? It's a re-engagement. We get so much reaction from our re-engagement. Well, I'll explain how to do that, but the point is, you cannot ghost and post. You have to engage and keep the comments in the comments. Don't do the DMs. DMs are great for like a real conversation, but back to TikTok being a social platform, if you comment, the same thing you'd say in a DM, say it in the comment, it goes into the feed, it creates the loop, and it'll just give more energy to your posts. So how do we measure all this, right? I gave you some points. I gave you some metrics that views are vanity and mean nothing. Here's how we're going to start measuring your TikTok performance. So I said this earlier. I'm going to say it again. Your follower count, it's meaningless in the sense that it's a vanity metric. My best performing posts, 7.4 million views, 8.7 million views, 6.5 million views. They were not seen by any of my followers. They've seen by the For You page. And most of that 8.7 million views was for 2 seconds. It doesn't count. That's why you have to look at signals. This post, what I'm looking at is analytics. This post was called Careers in Healthcare That Are Not Nursing If You're Organized, Detail Obsessed, and Hate People. I actually love that post. That was the hook. If you hate people, these jobs are for you, right? Be contrarian. This post got an average watch time of 32 seconds, which means it killed. It also brought in 18,000 followers and 18,000 comments, interestingly. Only 7% of the people watched the full video, but at 32-second average watch time, that's huge, right? Especially when TikTok counts a swipe 2 seconds as actual being watched. What I love about this post and why I selected this one as the example, the hook was literally careers in healthcare that are not nursing, if you're organized, detail obsessed, and hate people. All right, I don't know if like schools feel comfortable saying that, but as a person, I could say that. And it killed. It absolutely killed. So here's how to find your numbers, right? When you go in, whether it's on the desktop site or the phone app, this is a screenshot of the phone app. You click into any post, you just click analytics, it's right there, and it'll break it down. So this post, 5.1 million views, 12,000 comments, 50,000 shares, 76,000 saves, right? Average watch time 24 seconds, 9,000 new followers. This is what matters, right? The average watch time, important. The follower count, that's a byproduct. Like it did so well that people wanted to follow you for more. But remember I said likes don't matter, 198,000 likes, that's easy. 12,000 comments, 57,000 shares. That's why this did so well. 57,000 people decided to share this to someone else, which now duplicated the watch. So one person watched it, sent someone else, they watched it. Virtuous cycle. Here's why you're listening to me. Whoops, I don't want you to see that page yet. Here's why you're listening to me. Everything we spoke about up until now was first to persuade you that TikTok is a medium worth your attention, and that if done right, you could have tremendous, tremendous success making yourself a brand authority on TikTok. Here's how to actually take all that stuff that you've done and now make it convert into new enrollments for you. So